Hey everybody, welcome to Goshen Prepping. When we talk about prepping and stockpiling, putting things away, one thing people often forget are documents, keeping your documents safe and secure. I mean, honestly, if crap hits the fan, a lot of these documents are not going to be worth anything. But if we're talking about like an evacuation or possibly a house becomes flooded or you need to leave just for a little bit, whatever, this is important to have your documents in order. And I have a system in which I developed to be able to keep all my stuff and my documents in one location that works really well. And I thought it would actually be smart to show you what I do for this, especially if I do have to like evacuate for whatever reason, even if you have to evacuate for like a couple of days because of wildfire or something. Having all your documents in one location obviously could be extremely advantageous. Now, you could, if you wanted to, put your documents into a safe. You can get safes that are actually like, we'll hold 8x10 documents and we'll hold tons of them, a lot of them, like a couple of reams worth sometimes. But they're made out of cement. The cement makes it what makes them fireproof. And that's great for in your house, a nice secure location. But I mean, if you do have to like leave and you're in your car, you can always grab that with you if you want to. But if we're talking about if there is a bug out, there might be an easier way. And the easier way is this. And I've shown this document folder before. Please don't shut off the video. I want to show you a really couple cool things about this that's going to show you that this is what you should be doing. Not to mention, I want to show you some of the documents I keep in here. First off, the bag. I do have this linked below if you want to pick it up. It is not the best thing in the world. Like the cement safes are much better because they're fireproof. The literature for this says that it's waterproof and fireproof. And that is true to an extent. Because when we talk about waterproof, you're not going to submerge this thing and get a lot of water out of the system. It's going to get in there, you know what I'm saying? And if you're talking about a fire especially, this is not meant to endure like an inferno that takes your house down. That's not what it's about. But it does to give you some protection for water and some protection for fire. But it actually has another protection I'm going to show you in a minute that's going to blow you away. But before I get that, hold off on that. I want to show that at the end. I want to show you what kind of documents I keep in here. All right, so it does have two zipper locations, one here and one here to put different documents and stuff in. And I went ahead and just threw in this pack. I have a pack for sale, if you look at the link below. And the pack has all kinds of documents that you can get when you talk about having a preparedness checklist, which is great. But here's the thing. I mean, if you want to buy the pack for $12, has a lot of stuff, it helps us out. But again, with Goshen Prepping, I always want everything to be free. You don't have to buy the pack. I'm going to show you the documents here. I mean, granted, this is nice and orderly for you, so you can print out as much as you want to if you do buy the pack. But here's some things. For example, the first thing you want to have as far as documentation goes is simply just your family information. Name, address, date of birth, etc. I know a lot of this stuff you probably have memorized. But, as a doctor, I'll tell you, we get people come in the ER, completely incoherent. They have no idea what's going on. And this has all the information on there, especially when we talk about even like your physician, your pharmaceuticals you're taking, what kind of allergies you have, etc. And I tell you, anytime we had a patient come in who had something like this, we're like, kudos to you. Whereas you have another patient coming in literally with a Walmart bag full of different types of drugs. Have you been taking these drugs? Have you not been taking them? What kind of contraindications or problems you're going to have with it? So having everything in a family information sheet is good. Anything that possibly might pertain to you or have one of these printed out for every one of your family members would be a great thing. Number two, contact information. We live in the horrible age of cell phones now where, remember back in the day, I had everybody's phone numbers memorized. I barely have my own phone number memorized now. But this has contact information of people that, has their name and address, have it in all one location, maybe just some family or some close friends. You can put all that information on there. Utilities, your electric company, your water company, your gas company, because if you do have some kind of evacuation, you may have to say, hey, you need to shut off my electricity or shut off my gas because it could be a problem. Have all that stuff on there. More utilities, sewage and septic company, if you have that. I know not a lot of people do. Your landline provider. Anybody still have a landline? Cell phone provider. All the information about your cell phone. Utilities includes also internet provider. Cable, TV, satellite, if you have that. Your security provider. How many of you actually, don't answer this on the comments, by the way, but how many of you actually have security system for your house? Like, for example, ADT. Some more utilities. Your trash. Maybe, guys, we're out for like a month. We don't want the trash to be left out, so don't do any trash pickup. And then other categories. So I put all this so you can try to have as much detailed information in one location as you possibly can. Then this one simply is just full of others, ones I may not have thought of. credit card registry. I mean, for me, I do use credit cards, but I pay it off every single month. And with that, I actually have it set up into an Excel spreadsheet where I just click on it and pay it. It makes it a lot easier. My internet browser keeps that track for me. So if I had to like leave for some reason and I don't have my computer for some awful reason, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, how do I pay these bills? This will have everything on there as far as your information goes so you can get those bills paid. Also, we simply just have bill registry, types of bills you may want to include on there. Maybe you have like a car payment, for example, or a mortgage payment. That's actually, mortgage goes on here. Bank and investment registry. So you do have some banking, your checking accounts, savings accounts. Your mortgage is often through like some kind of account through a bank too. So all that information on there. Insurance registry. Who do you have your insurance through? I have, like, for example, the majority of my insurance is through USAA, being a military veteran. But maybe you have different insurances. Life insurance would be good to have on there too. At the very least, even if you don't even have to like bug out or anything, having all this stuff in one location is smart, because how many times do you have it where you have to contact your insurance company? You're like, oh, where's that information again? And this keeps it all in one location for you. Then last sheet is an inventory registry. This is important, by the way, especially when it comes to insurance, because as you make purchases, let's say that you just made a purchase for your house, a log splitter. We're talking about what, a purchase of $1,000. Well, and then something happens, maybe it gets stolen. This has like the registration model number and stuff on here, the serial number, so that way the police can look for it. Not to mention, if you have your house burned down, and let's say you have 3 computers, you're like, I don't remember what kind of computers they are. Every time you buy something, just have this sheet and you fill it out, and fill it out for every single thing you purchase. So this makes life much easier for you, even if we're not talking about bugging out or evacuating or crap hitting the fan. So those are some of the papers you're going to want to look at when it comes to this folder. Now, I also want to read off to you some other papers or things you want to keep in your pouch. Now, having all those papers filled out in completion, putting in your pouch is a great thing. Again, stick with me. There's something else about this too. I want to show you that's pretty awesome. But other things you might want to keep in here, and it all depends on you and your situation. Maybe some photographs. You know, maybe you have some like antique photographs of your great grandparents or something, or grandparents you want to keep in there. Birth certificates, death certificates, any last will and testaments, diplomas. I mean, at the very least, copies of all these things. You don't have to keep the originals in here. Driver's license copies, insurance papers, vehicle registrations, marriage certificates, military papers or veteran papers. Maybe you have your DD-214, passport, social security cards, power of attorneys. And what that does for you is, number one, it keeps you in one location. And if you do have to quickly leave for whatever reason, you just grab this, you have copies of everything, and off you go. It's a great way to keep everything organized and with you. So lots of things you can keep in there. Now, the second thing about this that's really cool too is you can keep electronics in here. And so one of the things I do is, on my computer, of course, I have a lot of files on there I keep track of, family documents, etc., important computer programs and stuff. I keep them on an external hard drive. And there's so many different external hard drives you can purchase. I'll put this one, I'll link it if you want to pick up this one specifically. But you want to get a smaller one. And what's nice about these smaller ones like this is all it takes is one cord to connect to your computer itself, and doesn't require an actual external power supply. So if you do have like a laptop with you as you're evacuating your area, you can just plug this right into your laptop and off you go. And since this has 2 pockets, I put it in this pocket. So why would I do that? Well, yeah, it'll help keep it dry. A fire will still cook your hard drive, mind you. But there's something else about this bag, and this is the cool thing I want to show you. I actually have to give credit to my friend Phil. You will see Phil as one of our moderators of the channel, because he picked up one of these bags at a yard sale. Forgive me, Phil, it was for like $1 or something like that, maybe $5. And he picked it up, and he goes, look at this. This whole thing is lined with a foil in there. And he goes, this also, even though note this is that, but it's actually a Faraday cage too. And I was like, interesting. So when I started preparing for this video, I was like, oh, mine's also lined with this. So sure enough, I tried it. This is a real test, by the way. Take your phone, drop it inside there, close it, and I tried to call the phone. I tried to put it in different positions to see if it would work, and the phone cannot pick up transmission. And that truly is a test, by the way. It's not made up. That tells you this is a little Faraday bag as well. So for me, I keep a lot of computer documents, really vital ones, on that hard drive and put it in there. If you wanted to, You could even take something else, like if you have one of these little weather radios, it's big enough. Granted, not huge big enough, but it's big enough where I can put this in there as well. Zip it up, have all your documents in there, have your hard drive in there, have it all set up. There we go. Again, it doesn't want to zip up too well with a, so I had a hard time zipping it up. Let me readjust the radio. There we go. So the radio is further down in the pocket now. And now, if I can get a hold of the zipper, there we go. Now it's all zipped up. You take all your papers, keep them in the bigger pocket. This is not easy to do on camera. Get in their papers. It's always smart to put the papers in before you put in your hard drive and radio, by the way. So, look, magically appeared, the papers are in there. Okay. So, now take that, the papers are in there, zip it up, and now it's ready to go. Now, think about this, though. If you do have things like your driver's license copies in there, social security card copies in there, all that stuff, you do not want to let this fall into hands of some kind of burglar. I think it's very smart you put everything in one location like this, so that way you can grab it if you need to quickly out the door you go. Put this in your bug out bag, whatever the case may be, but you need to have it very well hidden until then. Like, for example, anything in your master bedroom is a no-go. That's the first place burglars go to, is your master bedroom. Don't even keep anything in there worth value. Or maybe you do have a safe, you can keep this in there, whatever the case may be. But you know your house better than I do, and I want you to take this and put it into a secure location. But again, one more time, this in the hard drive I'll link below, but even more, the actual paperwork is actually, for $12, you can purchase a pack that includes a lot of checklists too, as far as what food to buy, what medical supplies to buy, etc., and also what you're looking for as far as food, medical supplies. It's basically how to prep, but it also has these too. Again, you don't have to buy it. You can simply make your own by watching this video, but it's kind of nice to simply take this and just hit print and make as many copies of these as you like. All right, guys, so hopefully you're preparing for all contingencies, including possibly bugging out. I know that's not what you should do unless your life depends on it, but you may have to evacuate for a few days or go somewhere. And it's nice to have everything in one location, not even just for really bad things, but obviously to stay organized too. What would you add to the list, though? I'm sure there's some things I probably forgot. We always want to be able to keep up on that. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.